Says it's live.
Okay. Hi, Facebook live stream listeners and watchers, I guess, too. We're happy to have you here backstage on Change It Up Radio, or Change It Up with Paula Shaw Radio. We are just about to record an episode for this weekend, for this Saturday evening, and we are delighted to have you here with us. And remember, you're actually backstage, so this isn't going to be a perfectly executed live stream video. You're going to be seeing how we chat with each other between segments and where we go and how we figure out what we're doing. And if I forget to do things, which I often do, you'll see my sound engineer, Todd James, reminding me what I need to do to get my act together. So thank you for joining us, and we will be starting in just a moment.
It looks like it's going.
Okay.
I still can't see it on your Change It Up page yet, but it
Oh,
shows
you know
it.
what? I think it does take a minute or two before it shows up.
Okay.
But I don't know. Has it taken a minute or two in the past?
No.
Huh.
No, unless you did it on the other one. No,
And it says live, right?
It says you're live.
So those of you out there, this is what we're talking about. See, we're trying to figure out if you're actually seeing me or not. Now we are? Oh, yay, we've arrived. All right. Oh, that could have been part of the problem.
Well, it was plugged in.
Oh, okay. All right. Yay. All right. So we are going to start this show now, Facebook listeners. Thanks for being with us. Again, you are backstage on Change It Up with Paula Shaw Radio. All right. And our show today is called Avoiding Despair and Desperation. Okay. And in case you missed the other intro, I was saying we're going to be talking today about suicide, because we've had some big suicides in the news this week. And we're also going to be talking with Cheri Blair, our financial consultant, who's going to be giving us education to help people avoid feeling desperate and in despair in their retirement years. Because Cheri's all about educating people so that they can use their money much more wisely and make it last. She works both with men and women, but she loves working with women. That's her passion, because we girls so often don't have the education that we need in order to use our money wisely and to make it last. So stick with us. Cheri will be with us in just a moment. And first, we're going to just get this show started. So here we go. All righty. Welcome to Change It Up with Paula Shaw. We are being brought to you today by Cheri Blair, whose passion is to empower women to grow beautiful financial futures. And you can reach Cheri at 619-997-0416 or at cheriblair.com, spelled CHERIBLAIR.com. So welcome to Change It Up Radio. I'm Paula Shaw. I'm an author, a speaker, and a life transitions expert. My work is all about guiding men and women who are dealing with change and the challenges that it creates. And that change may come from a lot of different sources. Sometimes it comes from a loss, could be a death or a divorce. It could be moving or even retirement. So change is tough for people because we don't like the discomfort of the unfamiliar. And yet, we really need change in our lives to keep them interesting and to keep us growing. So it's a challenging area. And my goal here on this show and in my work is to help people make change smoother and more productive and growthful so that they can embrace it. Because let's face it, whether we like it or not, change is going to happen. And we might as well get the most out of it that we can on every level of our lives. If you would like to know more about working with me, either in my office or on online sessions or phone sessions, you can get that information at paulashaw.com. That's paulashaw.com. And by the way, if you want more information about Change It Up with Paula Shaw radio show, or if you'd like to listen to past episodes, because we've had some great guests and some really great topics on this show, you can find those shows at changeitupradio.com. That's changeitupradio.com. There's also information there about being a guest on a show or sponsorship opportunities. So don't miss checking out changeitupradio.com. All righty, so let's get into our topic today in discussing suicide first, because in the news this week, we had 2 suicides of very famous people. Famous clothing designer Kate Spade took her life, and well-known chef and TV personality Anthony Bourdain took his life. And I think it always just shakes us when somebody that we know or we know through media does something like this. You know, it engages in this act of incredible desperation. I know we were all rocked by Robin Williams' suicide not that long ago, and so many others that have chosen to end their lives when on the surface they look like they had it all. There's some interesting statistics about suicide that I'd like to share with you. The annual age-adjusted suicide rate is 13.42 people per 100,000 individuals commit suicide. Men die by suicide 3.5 more times more often than women. On the average, there are 123 suicides per day in this country. White males accounted for 7 out of 10 suicides in 2016, and firearms account for 51% of all suicides in 2016. So each year, 44,965 people are dying of suicide here in America. And for every actual suicide, there are 25 who attempted it and weren't able to carry it out. So that number grows exponentially. And in our country, the costs of all different areas that are involved with suicide are $69 billion. It's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. And I think, there's a lot of confusion about suicide. A lot of people think that a person who commits suicide is mentally ill, but that isn't always the case. There can be many contributing factors, some of which could be a loss of a relationship, loneliness, chronic illness, financial loss, a history of trauma or abuse. And then also a lot of people worry about the stigma associated with asking for help. And so often I think when people are in the public eye, like Kate Spade was and Anthony Bourdain, it's really hard for them to let anybody know what they're going through, because they're supposed to look like they have it all, right? They're standing for a brand. And so often that puts them in a really dangerous situation of not being able to find someone or a way to express their inner pain. And I know in reading articles about Kate Spade, they said also that she was dealing with a bipolar situation, which can really be tough. So sometimes people are dealing with psychological disorders that can lead to suicide. But very often, it's more about the way we're living as Americans that's bringing people to this place of such emotional despair. You also have to remember, that there's a cognitive constriction that goes on when a person is in overwhelming emotional pain. That basically means their brain is not functioning normally. They can't think straight. The prefrontal cortex kind of goes offline. This part of the brain, which is the thinking part of the brain, goes offline. And instead, they're more based in the amygdala, which is the part of the brain that prepares you for fight, flight, or freeze. And in this case, it often happens that suicide actually seems like the best way out, or the best way to fight for survival, because they're thinking maybe it will be better for them in the afterlife. Isn't thinking with their logical brain. They're thinking with a very emotional brain and the survival part of the brain. So we ask ourselves, why are so many Americans getting to this level of emotional despair? And it's largely because of the way we're living. We exist very much disconnected from our extended families and friends and communities for the most part, except for the shallow interactions of social media, because we're too busy trying to make it without realizing that even if we do, once we get there, it won't be enough. And in the meantime, we're sacrificing time that can really be of value. Time where we can connect with other human beings, express love, express our feelings, time that could really make a difference, when we could experience actually doing our passions, living into our passions, having fun, just laughing. Laughing releases dopamine in the brain and makes us so much happier. So the more time you can spend laughing, the better off you are. We need to be, just talking yesterday with the mother of a 2-year-old, and we were saying the little boy was playing with his mom and his dad, and they were kicking a ball around and all. And I said, gosh, this is so good to see. Because too often, even children at that age, I'm seeing being babysat by a screen. So they're sitting on a sofa or in a chair, and they're doing video games or they're watching something instead of being out playing with other children or talking or playing with their parents and moving their bodies. This is all critical to keeping the neurochemicals at a level where we feel joy and happiness about our lives. So this is an incredibly important area we need to look at. Jim Carrey did an interview last year where he said, quote, "Getting to the place where you have everything everybody has ever desired and realizing you're still unhappy and that you can still be unhappy, it's a shock when you've accomplished everything you ever dreamed of and more." So it's not the stuff, guys. It's not even the accomplishments. I think if our relationships aren't working, if we aren't spending time engaged in communication and joy with other human beings, we can just reach a terribly desperate place of despair. So a few tips I would love to share with you to avoid that or to help someone who may be in that place. First of all, don't miss the moments to tell the ones you love that you love them. Many people who've been on the brink of suicide have reported that what brought them back was somebody saying they love them or asking them to please stay or saying that they needed them or that they cared about them. So don't miss those opportunities to do that. Look for those warning signs of isolation, despair, hopelessness, mood changes, giving away possessions in other people. And if you see that, reach out to them. Take them seriously. Tell them you care and encourage them to get help. Here is the suicide crisis line number, 888-724-7240. And we will have that in the show notes. But encourage someone. If you see someone or you're feeling it yourself, get with other people, get help, get exercise, get out in the sunshine, and find a way to serve others. That can give your life meaning, serving others. So when we come back from the break, we will be talking with Cheri Blair, whose whole life is about serving others and helping them to create beautiful financial futures. We'll be right back. Okay. Oh, thank you.
Good job.
All right, so we went over just a little bit with that. So when in our next segment, we'll just end at 10:30, and then we'll just add it into the next one. Okay. Oops. Let's see here. I'm going to stop that. Set that. All right. Whenever you are ready, my dear. So financial Facebook listener, financially concerned Facebook listeners. Cheri Blair is about to join me, and we're going to do the next segment talking about what's important financially, especially in those retirement years. So welcome, Miss Cheri. Say hi to everybody.
Hi, Facebook fans.
Cheri,
How you doing?
how many years have you been doing this? I wanted to write that in
I've
the
actually
bio.
been doing 24 years. It's going
24
on.
years. Can I borrow your pen for one
24
moment?
years, yes.
All
Oh, my
right.
goodness gracious. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And just so, yeah, it's that.com. That's okay.
Let me actually write that down. Cheri Blair,
This is going to be right here, so you can read
financialservice.com.
it if you want.
Okay.
Because I'm going to put this in at the end.
All right. So when are we good, Todd? Okay, we're good. So when I introduce you, you can reach the phone number and at Cheri. So Cheri Blair of, let me write that.
It's just CheriBlairFinancialServices.com.
Financial services.
Yeah, so
okay.
it's just an additional.
Oh, is that the website address? Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm giving the wrong website address. Mm-hmm. CheriBlairFinancialServices.com.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Okay.
Now, there was one, just little, after you do that, before we get going, jump in here, one little piece of, I think of paper.
Is it service or services?
Services, I'm sorry. Services. Isn't that terrible? Services.com.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Okay, so before, I gave you some on the questions, just so because they're down here somewhere, right?
Here we go.
Because once you get to the last of the questions, I need that last page.
Okay.
Not the last, but the
Why
last.
don't you just rip it off?
Good idea. Good idea, but
See, I told you this is what it's like backstage, getting things organized so we can actually record what we want to say. Okay.
so when you get down to question number 3, or the last one we do,
Oh, you need
you're gonna
that too.
push that to me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. You'll know it.
Perfect.
You'll realize it. Okay.
We got it.
Yeah.
And this I've already done, so we can get rid of all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
To do is done.
All right. Are you ready?
I am.
You got your water? Oh,
Yeah,
you
it's
can
right
reach
over
it.
there.
Okay,
It's
good.
right over there. Yeah.
All right, here we go, guys. Next segment. Oops. Welcome back to Change It Up with Paula Shaw Radio. We are delighted to have you with us today. And as you know, we are brought to you by Cheri Blair. And I am going to be giving you, let's start that one over. We're going to just do that better. Okay. I'll tell. Let me make a note. Can I borrow your pen for a second,
Sure.
honey? I just have to tell Todd. False start on the second segment. Okay. All right. I think I have it together now.
There you go.
You know why I confused myself? Because since I was going to be talking about you anyway, I wasn't sure. I'm thinking, should I say brought to you? But then I decided to go for it. All right, here we go. Welcome back to Change It Up with Paula Shaw Radio. I am here in studio with our sponsor, Cheri Blair of Cheri Blair Financial Services, who you can reach by calling 619-997-0416 or at Cheri Blair, spelled CheriBlair, financialservices.com. And Cheri will be speaking with us in just a moment about avoiding desperation and unhappy moments in retirement. She's going to be answering some questions from the 2017 Retirement Income Literacy Gender Differences Report, which some of you may remember I talked about a few weeks back. I failed the quiz myself, and so Cheri and I decided to go on a mission to try to educate me and everybody else, because 80% of women over, I think it was 75 or so, no, not over 75.
No, around 60, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Women over 60 who took the test failed. So I was in good company. So Cheri, by the way, has been a financial consultant for over 24 years. She does work with men, but her passion is working with women. She started a while back doing educational seminars for them because, having grown up in a situation where the father handled all the finances,
Right.
and mother was kind of left out, Cheri determined that not only was that not going to be the case for her life, but she was going to help other women to be equally well informed and well educated about how to handle their money and how to grow their money. Because we're living longer now, especially women. And this lady is on a mission to make sure that those women grow beautiful financial futures. So welcome, Cheri. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you, Paula. That was lovely. And I'm so glad to be here with you. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad not only to have you here, but to have you as a sponsor, because your work is really beautiful. What you're trying to do for women is super important. Women are out there in the work world now, and, we're earning money. We're doing all these things that we didn't used to be able to do. But that doesn't mean we really know what to do with that money. I think there's a kind of a mindset with so many people that the financial stuff needs to be handled by the guys, and that women do other kinds of things, and they could be doing brilliant work. But I think even in a lot of power couples, the men handle the money, right?
Right. Well, that's what I see or have seen for these many years. And, even though that is changing, there's still many, many, many women, particularly those that are baby boomers or getting close to retirement, still rely so much on the man. And as I've said before in some of the shows, is, a lot of it has to do, from my experience, is the woman's confidence in their ability of understanding the financial matters. So sometimes they're just not feeling like they can. They like you said, they could be brilliant. They can be brilliant and very powerful in their business, as if they're a business person or company. But when it comes to financial things, they just defer that oftentimes.
Yes.
And I know for myself, I always saw my mother do that.
Yes.
So it
that's
just
what
came
I was
very
just
natural.
thinking. It was role modeled for us, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And I love it that you have a goal that's different than that for women.
Absolutely.
So, okay, let's march into the first question from the financial literacy test that was done in 2017. So, Cheri, the question is, Social Security workers' monthly benefits are increased for each year that benefits are deferred from age 62 to age, and the possible answers are A, 65, B, 66, C, 70, D, 75. And then, of course, there was don't know, which I checked all too many times when I took this test.
Yeah.
So what is the correct answer, Cheri?
Well, Paula, the correct answer for this question is actually C. So that is 70 years of age. So one of the factors that is determining when to choose Social Security benefit is your life expectancy.
Oh.
Right?
Well, but don't we all think we're going to live a long time?
Right. But, those of us that have family, I mean, we have family history. Everybody has family history.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And if you consider your family history, your health, how you've taken care of yourself, those things, and if you're, I mean, obviously if you're not sick, if you're sick, that's something that's completely different.
Sure.
But oftentimes you consider that. Like in my family, people live on both sides, on my mother's side and my father's side, into their 90s.
Wow. So for you, it would make sense then to defer to age 70.
For me, absolutely.
Got it.
And for many of my clients, because the total benefits provided under the system, if you delay it to age 70, is going to be, the idea is if the higher benefit is paid for a longer time, then like we were just pointing out, like in this case, you're better off. Right,
Yeah, because you're getting more money if you wait. That's the bottom line, right?
Right.
And is it significantly more?
Well, that's a good point. So let's just say, people could take retirement at age 62 at this right now.
Oh, they can?
You can take retirement at age as early as 62.
We're talking about Social Security benefits.
Yes, Social Security benefit.
Oh,
I'm
I
sorry.
thought you had to wait to 65.
Social Security. No.
I didn't realize it. See, you're already educating me.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No, so Social Security benefits can be taken as early as 62.
I see.
So, but in order to get, let's say, what your full retirement would be, it could be 66, it could be 67. Back in the day, it was 65.
I see. So now there's a flexibility between 62 and 75. Is that right?
No.
Or
60, 62 and 70.
70. Okay.
70.
I was looking at one of the answers on there, but that was a wrong answer.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Because
62 and 70.
it's after 70. If you don't take it, because it won't grow anymore.
I see.
So you're just
it's
leaving
silly.
money on the table.
Yeah, you're just leaving it
money
there.
on the table.
Okay.
So.
Very interesting.
But it is a tricky situation, because it's so much of it is based on longevity.
And there seems to be a lot of fear these days of whether the whole system's going to last.
Right.
So I think some people have that take the money and run attitude.
Absolutely. I definitely have clients like that. I've seen clients sometimes when, I didn't think or we didn't think from a planning perspective. It was necessarily in their best interest looking at everything that's going on, but they're just of that mindset. They're like, that money's there. What if I don't live, or what if it goes away?
Right, right.
So, yeah.
So for some people, then it is the better course of action to go ahead and just take it, right?
Well, I mean, I will say
for their
this.
peace of mind.
Yeah, for their peace of mind. And there are there are people that believe in the industry that you could take, let's say, because you were asking what the difference is, and I wanted to point out. So let's say if you waited till your full retirement age, let's just say 66 or 66 and a half or something, because it's, it would be $2,500 or $2,500 a month.
At 66.
At 66, if that's your full retirement age.
Okay.
Got
it.
So, but if you took it at 62, you're going to take a reduced amount.
Significantly reduced?
Let's just say maybe $1,500. And
1,500. Oh, so that's 1,000 less.
That's
almost.
1,000 less.
Wow.
Now there is a calculation, and it's gauged by like about a half a percentage point. So so let's say if you took it at 62, you're getting $1,500 a month. You could, like about a half of a percentage point, like I said, it would grow every month thereafter.
I see.
You know what I'm saying? So, it's not about a matter of just taking it at, your full retirement age or starting at 62. I've seen people say, I don't want to take it, I don't think I want to take it at 66 and a half. That's when their full retirement age is. However, I may want to, or I want to wait or something, but something changes in their life.
Right.
and they decide to take
that
it,
into consideration.
sooner. So
Yeah.
when they didn't do it at 62, so they turned 62, 63, 64, and there's been some changes, and they decide to take it.
Got
So
it.
that can be done as well.
Interesting. All right. So when we come back for our next segment, we're going to look at the next question, which is about, a single person who's likely to live to age 90 is generally going to be better off claiming Social Security benefits at what age? Okay. Stick around, everybody. The answer will be revealed right after this break.
It's cute, Paula.
Okay. All right, if you're ready.
So I just want to tell you that obviously this question ties
this
very much into the first question, but that's why I
Yes.
put them together.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
and if there's anything more you want to say that's in reference to what we were talking about, the first question too,
Yeah.
they'll
yeah.
couple nicely.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. We are being brought to you by Cheri Blair Financial Services. Let me make sure I get, let me start that one again too. What's the correct, Cheri Blair Financial Services? Oh, I
That's
said it
right.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
.com.
All right, darn it.
I
We'll
could
go
have poked
again.
you under the table, under the desk.
Let's just say we also had a false start on segment 3. Okay. There we go. See, now I have it's a new learning curve for me because I've been saying that other name for so long.
Right, absolutely. That's
All
good.
right, here we go. Okay. Oops. Welcome back to Change It Up with Paula Shaw Radio. We are here today talking about avoiding despair and desperation. And with us is Cheri Blair, the financial consultant who is sponsor for this show. Cheri Blair Financial Services.com is how you can reach her, or by calling 619-997-0416. 619-997-0416 or Cheri Blair Financial Services.com. Cheri spelled Cheri Blair. All right. And here she is in the flesh.
Hey. All right, Paula, we're back, huh?
We're back, Ms. Cheri. So we are talking about the answers to the questions in the 2017 Retirement Income Literacy Gender Differences Report.
That is a mouthful.
I know. I think I'm just going to call it the RICP report.
You
from
could
now
call
on.
it literary quiz, the 2017 literary quiz.
The
That's-
financial literacy
literacy quiz. Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll call it that. That's much easier because it takes half the segment to tell the title of the other thing. Okay. So here's the next question, everybody. A single person who is likely to live to age 90 is generally going to be better off claiming Social Security benefits at age, and answer A is 62, answer B is 66, answer C is 70, answer D is 75, and then there's don't know. Cheri, for once, I actually know an answer, but tell us what it is.
Well, the answer to this question is C, and that's 70.
Mm-hmm.
This question is very much like the last question, but I thought it was important to add, to make sure that it gets in there because it is one of the questions on the quiz that talks about Social Security or addresses Social Security, and when the best time to take it. So, of course, one of the factors I just mentioned is the your life expectancy.
Yes.
So, what it looks like to you? I mean, did your parents, I would say to you, if you were coming in and talking to me, I would say, Paula, tell me a little bit about your family history. Your mom, your dad, are they still living? Do you know anything about their parents, that kind of thing? How's your health, those kind of things.
And that's part of the interview you have with them as their financial advisor.
Absolutely, because we're looking at these things.
I see.
Trying to, help them determine when it is the best time for them to start their benefit.
Got it.
So because this could affect obviously your total benefit, right? So if you delay it till 70, it's always a good idea because you're going to have a higher benefit for a longer time.
That's it. Yeah, so obviously that makes a lot of sense. And I didn't realize the difference could be pretty dramatic, almost the difference of $1,000 a month more
Right.
that you would get. Huh?
Right. Now, let me talk a little bit about that because one of the things that's important, I think, to remember is when you're looking at this claiming question, what you're really looking at is how can I improve my retirement income?
I see.
How can I improve my retirement
So
income?
you're thinking ahead rather than
so-
just grabbing money.
All right, of course. So it's like if you take it at, going back to the other example, at 62 and it's $1,500, but if you wait till your full retirement, $2,500, well, then you also have the option if you want to wait till 70, right? Which is, this says, and even our last question or answer is, and that is that if your full retirement age, whether it's 60, 66 and a half, or 67, you have an option if you want to delay it, which is called suspend it, till the age 70, and it grows at 8% every year thereafter. And many people will do that too.
You know, now I always wondered, let's say a person decides to take it at 62 because of the circumstances in their
Right.
life at that time, and they're scared and they just need extra money. And then let's say by the time they're 65 or maybe even 63, things improve. Can you put a hold on it so it'll grow some more, or is that it? Once you commit, you're in.
Well, you can stop taking it, but there's a lot of other factors around, like paying it back and so on and so forth to take it at a later time.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see. So
Yeah.
that's not the easiest
So unless
thing
you have
to
a
do.
lump sum to pay back from what they've been paying you, that could be not always in your best interest.
Okay, so once you make your decision, you're pretty much in.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
Okay, so let's look at the next question here, number 3. According to the Social Security Administration, in 2033, they will only have funds to pay for approximately what percentage of promised benefits? Ooh, this is a great question because I know a lot of people are worried about this.
It's a very, very good question.
So, okay, the A is to pay for 0% of promised benefits. B is 25% of promised benefits. C is 50% of promised benefits. And D is 75% of promised benefits. All right, Cheri, I think the world is holding on. Well, we know there's a don't know option.
Right.
But you know, so we
Right,
don't have
right,
to worry
right.
about that option.
Right.
The world's holding on to find out because a lot of people are worried about this, that the whole Social Security system is going to go away. So first tell us what's the correct answer. And then do you have any inside scoop on Social Security? Will it stay or will it go?
Right. Okay, so Paula, the correct answer for this question is D. It's 75%. So according to the Social Security Administration, in 2033, they will only have funds to pay for approximately 75% of the promised benefits.
Ooh. Okay, so now, that's 2033. That's a little ways off.
It's not that far off, really.
Yeah.
I mean, for people that are approaching, thinking about retirement if they're 55, so that's 13 years. Let's see, 15 to 14 years away.
That's
That
true.
is
That's not
long.
very far.
That's really not
But
that
I was
long.
just thinking back on the questions we were just looking at. So let's say I was 62 and I'm trying to decide, do I
Right.
wait to 70? That's 8 years from now. So I'd still be good to be getting the whole 100% 8 years from now. But 15 years from now, probably not. So that person might need to be thinking differently.
Well, let me just tell you this. If Congress doesn't act, the Social Security Trust Fund will be depleted after 2033. So what does that really mean when they say depleted? That means that the program will only be able to pay 77 cents on a dollar.
$1.
On a dollar's benefits. owned through additional taxes, through the tax revenue that's been received. So does that mean that it's going to end up that way? Absolutely not. And we don't know. Have I seen any legislation? Have we seen any legislation to the contrary? No, we haven't. Do I think, or do those of us in the industry as financial advisors and planners and so on and so forth think there will be change? Yes, we do believe that there'll be change. Think about this. So if you're running for office,
Which,
and
by the way, I'll never do.
locally running for office, and Congress, whatever, you would vote against making changes to the Social Security Trust Fund, so people would receive more of their benefits or less of their benefits. Do you think that would affect how you would vote for that person?
Of course.
Right. So if you do nothing, so if the Congress does nothing, if the House of Representatives, if they do nothing, then it's like committing political suicide.
I see. So what you're saying is there's hope.
Absolutely.
It's probably
absolutely.
they're going to find a way to save it.
Absolutely. I mean, well, there's obviously there's been a lot of debate around this, and there will continue to be. But they've looked at different things. They've looked at taking the Social Security trust funds out of the government hands and giving them back to the individuals, or put it in the private sector. And a lot of people believe, and there's a good argument for, they think that they would do a better job.
So with private sector, would that be like banks or trusts or?
It could be trust. It could be. I mean, a trust could be set up. It could be through banks. It could be financial institutions. There's talk about would let's say you or I be able to control our own, or would it be in something that that would be controlled for us? But still, that's not a lot different than the government, is it? So
right.
So there's good argument for that both ways, but how it will end up, we don't know, right?
Yeah, it's a big mystery, and it's kind of a scary one for a lot of people right now.
It's very, very scary, because if you're anywhere from 13, 14, 15 years away before, you're going to start taking your retirement, you're thinking about these things a lot. And that's where you hear the people say, well, Social Security won't even be around. I better take what I can now. Well, when we come back in the next segment, let's talk a little bit about all that. Cheri, what's the future going to look like? Right.
With it, without it. All right, we'll be back in just a moment with Cheri Blair, our financial consultant and sponsor. We'll be right back. All right, so where do you want to go in this segment? Since we did the questions, you want to get
pretty
into
quickly.
Any of this,
No, so I do want to talk a little bit more about this. I want to give some more information about this. I think it's important about why it's the taxing, not like tax dollars or but how the way that Social Security has been set up affects the system, the system, to the point where we're having such problems with it now. I mean, part of it I want to talk about, as far as the cost of living increases.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people that have had Social Security, like there was a 2% raise last year, but the year before that was 0.3. The year before that was 0. I mean, those are people that are receiving it realize, well, I didn't get any raise this year in my Social Security. I didn't get any raise. And that's been going on for a number of years, like 4 or 5 years now. It's been really consistent.
So cost of living is going up in the Social Security.
They're not giving any increase in the Social Security. So that makes a big effect.
Huge.
And then we'll talk about, one of the things I want to talk about is, I have a little story, an example of why it's so taxed, and it's really a cute little example.
So how do you want to open in this first part of this segment to lead you into being able to talk about that stuff?
Well, I think we just go say, we say that we're going to go back to this, go back to some more information that Cheri has about, her belief of why we're in this situation, and this is, what's important. So now this will not necessarily take the whole 10 minutes.
Right. Yeah, so then we could maybe go to maybe this whole idea about women living longer and all of that.
Yeah.
I think
So,
that's
and
good.
we rely more on Social Security benefits
Yeah.
than men do, and we receive less benefits than men.
Okay.
And that's why it's really
so
important
we'll do
just
that.
to take a look at our financial situation and get in and see somebody. I mean, go see an expert about this.
Yeah,
Go see
that's
what
a
you can
good
do.
point.
What
And
can
then
you
we
do?
want to be sure we allow plenty of time for you to talk about this book.
Right, I'm going to say that, and then I'm going to say what else I'm going to say is if you go to my website, you can get you can receive a personal if you request a personal no obligation Social Security analysis that can help you avoid potential costly mistakes.
Great.
And that is something that I'm giving away if you go to my website. So you'll see that on my
Okay.
website, a financial calculator, whatever. So that gets
Okay.
information to me, and then I'd like to give the book. Okay, so
Perfect. Oh, and let me get your info so I give it correctly this time. Okay, let's do this thing. Welcome back to Change It Up with Paula Shaw Radio. I am in studio with our sponsor, Cheri Blair of Cheri Blair Financial Services. You can reach her at Cheri Blair, spelled CheriBlair, financialservices.com, or at 619-997-0416. And if you are either watching on Facebook or listening to this show, stick around because Cheri is enlightening us about some information we all need to know about how we can handle our money wisely in retirement. And her work specializes on really helping to educate women so that they can use their money wisely and make it last longer. So I think that's something all of us need to know. I know I'm delighted to be learning from you, Cheri. So you were talking about some interesting information. We were talking about the whole Social Security system. Is it going to stay? Is it going to go? And all of these things you believe about it. Would you give us some more of that information?
Yes. Thank you, Paula. I was just sharing that some of the reasons why, it's believed that, well, we are headed into what could be a crisis. To have your Social Security drop by 75% or to 75%. So if you're getting $1,000 a month, you're getting $750, and then over a course of a year, what does that add up to? Over 5-10 years, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And that could make, for some people's lives, it could make a significant difference because women tend to rely more heavily on Social Security benefits than men do.
Oh, that's interesting. So how does that work? Are we saying that single women or, if you're a couple, let's say, the man's getting his Social Security and she's probably getting hers. Right?
Right.
So when we talk about women relying more on it, is that because with most couples, maybe the men did some kind of investing or something and then there's more money to pull from? Or is it just women in general, actually?
So we're talking, and these numbers and these statistics, we're talking about women that have they're single. So they become either divorced or widowed, or maybe they never did, marry. They're just women statistically by themselves end up relying more on Social Security. So if you're a couple, right, and your husband has Social Security, you have Social Security, and then whatever you might have together, that feels more safe, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Doesn't that feel a little bit more secure than being, by yourself and only what you've done? Now, if you've done great things and, you don't find yourself in that situation, that's wonderful, but not statistically women do rely more.
You know what, Cheri, I think this is kind of a great place for me to mention to our listeners that Cheri and I have talked before about the fact that a lot of women are embarrassed that they don't have more or that they don't know more, and so they don't seek help from somebody like you.
Right.
But what I'm hearing you say is that can make all the difference because you're making decisions about your money, whether it's Social Security or whether it's multi-millions that
Right.
you've invested.
Absolutely, Paula. Good point. Absolutely.
So how can people learn from you? How do they reach you, get together with you? I just want to be sure that we get that in, and we'll give it to them again at the end of the segment.
Right. Well, like you've said a couple times, they could always obviously reach me by calling me directly at 619-997-0416, right? Or come to my website, which is Cheri Blair, financialservices.com. And
you have a little gift for them if they go to your website, right?
I do.
What is that?
Well, right now, if they'd like to receive a personalized, no obligation Social Security analysis, right? So that would be like determining when I should start taking my Social Security.
Oh, that'd be helpful.
Yeah, what looks better based on where I am today and what I've saved, whatever, and what kind of Social Security am I going to get? Is it better to start as early as 62? Or should I wait till my full retirement age? Right.
So you have an analysis they take online?
Well, actually, no. You would go online. You would give me the information, like how to get a hold of you, right? And that's on the website. And then I would contact you. We would contact you.
Oh.
And we'd have a phone interview over the
no
phone.
Cost.
At
you're doing that?
no cost.
Oh my gosh,
no,
that's a true gift.
Yeah.
Get that information, everybody.
That's right. That's right. And then we'd send it out to you, or if you chose to come in and take a look at it, it's like,
So you'll talk to them on the phone, ask certain kinds of questions that are going to help you determine what's best for you.
Right. We would ask.
Got it.
We'd ask the questions, and basically there's programs set up to, after all this information is put into those programs to determine, different scenarios and when that's best for you to take that.
Oh, that's beautiful. So somebody doesn't even have to leave the comfort of their chair.
No. That's what's the
their comfy
beautiful
chair.
thing about today. You can use the phones and use Zoom and get right into somebody's office, right?
And there's also a wonderful book that you're offering people today. Would you tell them about that?
Oh, yes. This is a booklet that's all about empowering today's woman. So this gives you information. It's a guide to help enhance Social Security benefits for women. So if you haven't started taking your Social Security and you're looking at that, this is a wonderful little book that gives you some information to, answer questions, and if nothing else, open your eyes to things. So you have, you might need to go. I'm going to go to an advisor or someone else, professional, to find out more about these questions. So.
Very good. How did they get that book?
Well, the same way. They could go to my website,
give
us your information, indicate there that you're interested in that book, and we'll make sure that we send that out to you directly.
Great.
Yeah.
And again, that book is called The Empowering Today's Woman.
That's right.
I love it. All righty. Okay, Cheri. So
I just want to go back to a little bit what we were talking about with Social Security.
Please do.
I think that's important. And one of the reasons for this concern that the trust fund will go down and you won't be able to take your whole benefit. And a lot of that, there's several different reasons, but one of the things is that I want to talk or address the cost of living increase that we've gotten in Social Security. For those people that are receiving Social Security or have been, will know that like over the last several years, there's been very small increase, very minimal or nominal increase. I mean, in 2017, it increased by 2%. So you would have seen
and that's like a cost of living adjustment?
That's a cost of living
so
increase.
they're giving you a little bit more.
A little bit more.
2%. But what was the actual increase in the cost of living? I bet it was more than 2%.
It was obviously, like 3.5. They go to look at your CPI or something. I don't think it was quite 3.5 last year. They're looking at that, but it was a little lower. And then I want to go back. So 2016 was not even 1%. It was 0.3.
Oh, wow.
And then 2015, the year before that, it was 0%. And then if you go back even to 14 and 12, you see those lower numbers. All of this affects how that Social Security trust fund is going to grow. Right?
I see.
Right. And then there's one other example that I wanted to share.
Yes,
I think this is a good example because some people just don't get this. And when I share it with people, they go, I had no idea. So I have an example because I have a lot of brothers, right?
Yes, I do.
I have 5 brothers, being the only girl. So, one of my brothers, married a woman, and her name is Sally Anna. they were married for more than 10 years. They got divorced, and then he married again, a second wife, and her name was Susan. And they were married over 10 years. And then he got divorced again and remarried a third wife, and her name is Sarah. And Sarah, she already had 2 children of her own, and he chooses to adopt them. And now they've just been married over a year, and then because he's a little older, he's decided that instead of just continuing to work, he wants to retire. So because they were married for 10, so his first wife, because they were married for 10 years, Sally Anna, she decides that she's a full retirement age too, and she wants to retire as well. So she can get, and his retirement, by the way, was $2,000 a month.
His Social Security
His Social
benefit.
Security, I'm sorry, his Social Security benefit. I'm
Right.
sorry, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Keeping me straight. So his Social Security benefit was $2,000 a year. So A month. So Sally Anna, his first wife, she retires, and she's going to get 50% of that.
Okay.
So she gets $1,000 a month.
Is that in addition to her own Social Security, or is that all she's getting?
Right now, in this scenario, this is all she's
getting.
getting. Yeah,
Okay, got
she
it.
didn't work when they were together or
Okay,
whatever.
got it.
So yeah, so then he was so he was also married to a second wife for over 10 years, right, Susan? And she is also hitting full retirement age, and she decides that she wants to get Social Security, and she gets 50% of his $2,000, which is another $1,000.
And he still gets money too?
He gets his $2,000. The first wife
wow.
gets $1,000. The second wife
Stay
gets
married
$1,000.
more than 10 years at least, guys.
There you go. And even though he's been married for only over a year with his third wife, she's coming on retirement, and she says, I want to retire as well. So she gets 50% of that $2,000 for $1,000. So she gets $1,000. So and
everybody is doing well.
And her 2 children, of all things, they get $1,000 each because they're underage.
Oh my
So that's a $7,000 total payout for someone that only earned $2,000.
Wow.
Social Security.
Amazing. Well, Cheri, thank you so much for all that you've taught us today. And but I tell you, this was all out of the realm of my reality. So I'm making my appointment right away. So thank you all for joining us here at Change It Up with Paula Shaw Radio. We're on every Saturday and Sunday evening at 7 p.m. on AM 1170 The Answer. We're on all the major podcast platforms, including iTunes, Libsyn, and SoundCloud, on 15 terrestrial radio stations across the country, including iHeart Radio. And if you can't remember all of that, just ask Alexa. And please be sure to check us out on changeitupradio.com and paulashaw.com. And check out our Change It Up Radio Facebook page and Instagram. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye-bye. Thank you, Cheri.
Bye, Paula.
Okay. Thank you, Facebook Live listeners, for being here. We'll see you next week. Can you hit the finish button?